up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, November 15th to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. We are rolling. We've cracked double digits in NHL and NBA. Max is crushing NCAA basketball. Matt Randall is destroying everything. It just feels like we are seeing things clearly. We're working together as a team, and we are rolling right along. Shout out to DX5. There's Matt Randall right there. 17-5 last 3 days. Taint play today. South Carolina minus 25. Other plays: Louisiana plus 1.5. Utah State minus 26.5. Cal over 141. WMU. Okay, we're going Western Michigan over 138.5. Michigan minus 25. And Portland State. Copy and paster right there. Matt Randall Matt Randall is on a heater, and there's a lot of us rolling right now. It feels very, very, very good. Stu in the house. Dan Kelly, this made me laugh about 2 minutes ago. Oh man, I told Teddy Covers to wait till halftime to bet on the Cavs. I always feel bad when guys don't listen to me and they lose, but I also feel bad when they do listen to me and they lose. Dan, you're so funny, man. Full game Sacramento Kings money line from Dan Kelly. Kings are playing good basketball. Who would have thunk without De'Aaron Fox and without Bagley they'd be playing such good basketball? I went 2-2 in NBA yesterday. Easy cash. Well, I guess the Bulls wasn't that easy. I was comfortable all game long. Let me just put it that way. But and the Suns was too easy. But then I gave 2 units back in the Nuggets game, first quarter, first half, and then they covered full game. A mistake in capping there. Shout out to Geghard A in the house. A sweaty butcher. There's my guy Phil 9 in the house. 2 plays per day only. Cuban Connect. Jansen Bonzen in the house. Guru Sports Bets. Jonathan Young. Nate the Great. Scott. My guy Jin in the house. Says hot in college football. Push my first quarter Buffalo play, but hit that second quarter total over 14.5. I'm looking forward to hear what you're going to be on this week. And there's unbelievable Ty Clinton, Joe Anisi play of the day paid yesterday under 223 in that Brooklyn Denver game. That was a very interesting game. Denver is an enigma for me right now. Reset. Oh, yeah, that was horrifying. But we got to stay focused here. Von Polo in the house is at Sportsbook with my wife and my son, putting in my best for the bets for the weekend. Von Polo, that sounds like a nice life. Love that. Stu in the house. Ty Clinton, Nutflush Allen. Did you see Nutflush Allen? I believe he went 6-2 with his props yesterday, becoming the prop king. Illwise. Just followed Illwise. Illwise joined us on Twitter. Just followed him today. Nasty Nate, Naeem, 25 AMJF. Brett Souza, also in South Carolina. Moses Saucedo. Rosie in the house. Cobra Sports, Dirty Will. Mr. Stroy. Great group. Michael Irvalina in the house says, I think the Spurs are going to play tonight. Love that. Great job, Michael Irving. Yeah, adding the Stars Nux was nice. We're going to get into that right now. I've already locked in some plays. And look at Sweaty Butcher says the best handicapper I know, Dan Kelly. It's just such an honor and a luxury to cap with everybody. Look, Red Girl now, Zenny Toon, Ben Sports 24/7, Nothing Ordinary Sports, Alexander Lopez in the house. Great group. All right, let's get after it. Chump change, ready to get to work. And says, got to thank Max for that Long Beach. I'm 9-1. Tailing Max, my last 10 bets. Tailing Max. There we go. Gas Station Sushi Max bet on Baylor plus 10.5 and money line. And Gas Station, I apologize for not asking Max that question because it was an important question that I have asked him before, but we want to do it for the show. Okay, let's hammer it, Coke. So this is the situation. I have 25 minutes to do NHL and NBA. 25 minutes. Then we will be joined by Donnie Rightside, who's going to break down what he likes on this NFL card. Then 20 minutes after that, Teddy Covers in the house. Final looks. We'll go over his plays in NCAA football. Then on the late show, I'm going to go over 5 minutes to NHL and NBA. And then our guy Al Mack will join us, and he's going to break down a couple looks. And I really need to hear his looks in the CFL playoffs. And then Maxwell Smart, Mad Max will continue eating. All right, let's get to work. Mitch Bruner says, new follower this week. Thanks for what you all do. Isn't it fun, Mitch, working together as a team to defeat the Jews? Out of all your NHL last night, I tailed Arizona over. That's, you know what? I like that bet. And I'm sorry that didn't cash for you. I apologize. And then that's sometimes the danger of picking one out of... If it correlates with your own capping, then, losses are going to come. But you hit Phoenix Mind and say, okay, great job. All right, let's get after it right now. Bruins Leafs is the first on the card. We're going to go through NHL as fast as possible. I guess we kind of need to get through NHL within 10 minutes so I can have 15 or 14 minutes on NBA. All right, we are at Sportsbook Review Odds Page, the best in the business, SBR odds. Let's get after it right now. Money lines and totals. I would like just to make sure that I have an opening line from Pinnacle Sports. That is what I prefer. You can set the settings any way you want. All right, let's get after it right now. First on the docket, Bruins, Leafs. Leafs open up at minus 117. Now they're minus 113. This total at 6.5. Under 6.5 at minus 112 has now, that was a juice to the under. It's now become juiced to the over. And the Leafs are playing high-scoring games. They're playing high-scoring games. Look at enough shots. The Saints should be 62 on Twitter, 4-2 on the live line. But the best part was busting Jay at the Sports Kick Balls about not telling my over 21 carries for Chubbs. Dude, you're just crushing it. You, Matt Rand, there's so many of you guys. And there's Noli No saying NCAA football lay the points with App State. I will copy and paste that, my friend. All right. Illwise early bet placed at 7 a.m. Devils money line. I love it. I'm on that as well, Illwise, but I made that a -1 for a giant score. Okay, let's go. Bruins Leafs right now. Tuukka Rask, Freddie Anderson. If I have the goalies wrong, please let me know. Bruins are scoring 3.56 goals per game, allowing 2.5 goals allowed, and facing adversity for the first time all year. 30.5% power play, 82.1% penalty killing. That's how you become a top team in the National Hockey League. Anderson, 2.72 goals against average, 912 save percentage. He's a slow starter generally. Doing it again. Leafs are scoring 3.35 goals per game, 3.25 allowed, and having a tough time on the power play without Mitch Marner out there. 17.6% power play, 75.3% penalty killing. That's how you become an average team in the NHL. So the Bruins are angry, but they're dealing with enough injuries that I don't really want to back them here. Gekhard A says, Jimmy, today's dog of the day, Pacers money line. That's exciting, Gekhard. Let me copy and paste that. I am interested in the Pacers, and I almost made that move. There's Astute Chaos in the house joining us. All right, I got to keep moving. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible, these NHL games right here. The Bruins have enough injuries that I don't care that they allowed 4 goals in the third period. I'm not going to expect a bounce back spot for them here in a division game on the road. I just don't see it. Leafs have lost 3 straight games. They're scoring a lot of goals. They're allowing a lot of goals. So I understand why the under 6.5 has become an over 6.5. One for the money is taking Boston money line in NHL. I'm leaving this game out. I look forward to watching this game. I'm on the Devils -1. That's plus 223. On the money line at plus 115. Was available 5 dimes. On the puck line, reverse puck line at Bet365, and that was at plus 325. If I wanted the money line right now on the Devils, oh, beautiful. That's what I wanted to see. And I even waited a little too long. I even waited probably 45 minutes too long. I could have put the bet in earlier, but I wanted to finish capping the entire card, and that was a mistake because I could have got a better line. The best you can get right now for these Devils is a plus 109. So it comes down, we can break down goals per game, power play, penalty killing. Both power plays are struggling right now for the Penguins and Devils. The main thing to me is that, and Malkin can prove me wrong, but I do not see Malkin as the guy he was. 2 years ago, if Crosby went down, Malkin would be unbelievable. A monster all over the ice, completely carry the Penguins to victories. I don't know if he can do that anymore. He already got hurt earlier this year. He's coming off a down year. Now, he's capable of proving me wrong, but this bet for me is a bet against Evgeny Malkin. I just don't expect him to take over. Penguins have allowed the first goal in 12 of 17 games so far. They've also trailed by at least 2 goals in all of their last 4 games. The Devils are playing terrible in the third period. They're being outscored 24-9 in the third period so far. If you want to cash out your bet with the Devils when you're up at the halfway mark, I don't think that's a bad decision, but I expect the Devils to continue playing okay hockey, good hockey, over 500 hockey for the rest of the season. They're 5-4-2 since the opening season. This is a young group. The Devils are 6-1-1 in their last 8 meetings with the Penguins. I'm on the -1. Remo saying Blackwood confirmed. That's who I prefer. Top said in now is going to hammer Aqueduct. I wish I could do that with you. I love it. But that's my look. Slats 45 says, Jimmy, now you're just showing off NHL. Great call. Caps Flyers under. My best bet, Jimmy, top 10 with 20 minutes. I love it. Actually, speaking of which, Crosby gets his surgery within a couple days. I've been waiting over 3 years. Oh, yeah. I don't like hearing that, Ronnie Christie. I hope you get it. Actually, speaking of my NHL, it's the first time I've hit double digits. So let's take a look at it in all of its glory. First time I've hit double digits this year, and it feels good. That average line is plus 130. I must have put that in wrong. That must be my fault. That average line is plus 130, not minus 130. I must have sent that in wrong. Okay, let's keep rolling along here. So Devils -1 plus 223. Then we have Canadiens Capitals, and Ovechkin steps up in Montreal, against Montreal, especially in Montreal, because he likes to party in Montreal. But he always steps up against this Habs team. Washington 11-0-2 since their last regulation defeat, October 14th. That's a longest point streak since 2016, 2017 for these Caps. And it also, I did add, and I wish I bet more. Afterwards, I was like, why did you only bet $100? But I did put $100 on the Sharks at plus 2,000 to win the division, the Pacific Division. And that was how we got, that was a Jeff Billings idea, and I'm very thankful for Jeff Billings. Ronnie Christie says, do we back the Caps tonight? Fading the Habs, even though I don't like them, has not been a profitable venture for me. Let's just quickly see what it is if we were to back the Capitals. I think at -156 there's value on the Capitals, yes. But how do we handle Montreal? They're 4-2-3 on the road this year. They're 6-1-1 over their last 8. They just swept a 2-game homestand against bad teams in LA and Columbus. Gallagher, Tatar playing well, Droom playing well. I just don't know. I mean, Carey Price, he's not been good against Washington. 4.44 goals against average, 1-5-1 over that stretch. I have interest in the Capitals. I'm going to leave it that. I'm not going to I guess I have interest in the Capitals. I guess Capitals on the -1 line makes sense. I don't think the Habs are that good. Ronnie Christie said that Caps at -160. Let's see what the Caps are on the puck line. Here we go, point spread. Oh, I don't want to hum and haw over this too much, but I like it. All right, I'm going to keep rolling. Much love to you, Mally Mal. Mally Mal, we're just trying to follow your action. You've been crushing it. Okay, I'm interested in the Capitals, but I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger at this point. I'm on the Devils -1, but why wouldn't I? You're almost getting a plus line. All right, I'm going to keep rolling along. Blues, Jackets. Jackets are bad, and the things are going to catch up to the Blues. So Jackets 1-5-2 over the past 8, averaging 2.33 goals a game, not getting very good goaltending. They're getting okay goaltending. They're not going to have Nick Foligno for 3 games. The Blues are going to be a great team to fade at some point. I'm just trying to figure out when, and I do not want road favorites. We've been succeeding without Guru saying Caps are pretty good. There's no doubt. I think I do want to make a move on that, Caps. And then Flyers -1, and I also added in the under 6.5 after a little bit of study. Alain Vigneault, he's French-Canadian, and then playing in Ottawa, I just feel like these Flyers are playing such accountable hockey right now that I had to back them here. And I've been telling you all year, I don't want to have road favorites, and I believe this could be the first road favorite, or at least I don't remember taking one in the last few weeks. But the Flyers are playing so accountable right now for their new coach, Alain Vigneault. I don't think they go into Ottawa and look past this team. I'm on the Flyers -1. I got plus 112. And I also got the under 6.5 -110. I could easily see a 3-1 or 4-1 final with the Flyers last night. And I was wrong about the Jets. Those of you who were on the Jets, when I was on the Panthers last night, went 3-2 in NHL last night. Great job. Great job by all you guys. Ronnie Christie says, give me the Jackets plus 1.5. Nick Allegretti in the house. I'm now following my man Nick Allegretti on Twitter. It says Caps in regulation. Remo saying Hart confirmed and Nilsson likely. And Scotty says, you look rested today, buddy. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Nothing Ordinary Sports says fade Jersey. I'm going to back Jersey. Okay, I think you guys have sold me. I'm also going to take the Capitals on the -1 line. And I would prefer to take them on the puck line. But when it comes to overtime, this team is so dangerous. There's Steve Dunn in the house. So dangerous. And I would prefer to be live for a push if it goes to overtime or a shootout. So I'm in. Market going against this move. I don't care. I'm going to take the Caps here to keep rolling. So on the money line, I'm getting -151. That's a bet online. Capitals -1. This is the only addition to the NHL card. Money line -151. And on the puck line here, let's see what I'm getting on the puck line very quickly here. On the puck line, I'm getting plus 165. plus 165. That's available at 5 dimes. So we're going to grab that right now. Plus 165. Book it. Okay, so that's my action in NHL. I'm not expecting to add anything or change anything throughout the day. I'm on the Devils -1 at plus 223. I'm on the Capitals -1. We'll see what that gives me. A pretty much even money, I'm guessing. And then I have 2 plays on that Philly game, and they're the plays I feel most comfortable with. The Flyers -1 and the under 6.5 are my favorite looks on this NHL card. Nothing Ordinary Sports says Flyers, good pick, and saying I can't trust Jersey. And there's Schaff in the house. And Nick Allegretti says line on the Flyers is dropping, 5-cent move. And Ronnie Christie says, I'm tending my horses right now, if you know what I mean. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Okay, let's move into NBA, and I've made no moves, and I need to do this with you. We're also going to go over these looks in NBA with Teddy Covers as well. So we only have 13 minutes, so let's stay focused and start moving through. We're going to start with Pistons-Hornets here. Pistons-Hornets. Another spot where I don't want to back a road favorite, but I would if I was given a free play here. Pistons opened up at -3, now at 3.5. This total opened up at 219, and it's gone all the way up to 222 at Pinnacle. Still down to 220.5 at other books. I'm sure they'll follow suit quickly. Pistons averaging 108.9 points per game, allowing 112.5. Hornets only scoring 106.8, allowing 113.7. They're both getting okay distribution. Charlotte on a 4-game losing streak. Wednesday night, they lose 119-117 to the Grizzlies, but they start Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. They start them together, and they look good. Rozier goes for 33. Devontae goes for 19. Malik Monk looked good in the backcourt, and P.J. Washington is coming back to earth. He's not looked good. Held to 5 points or less twice in the last 4 games. Luke Kennard is playing very well. 29, 25, 22 last 3 games points. Griffin and Rose will return. What will that mean for the Pistons, and how are you guys handling this spot? Ben Sports 24/7 says Pistons all day in this spot. Reese says Pistons roll. There's Alex Malbury in the house. Dan Kelly says I looked at Pistons and Hornets because both teams are on losing streaks and didn't find anything. I don't want to sit here with if again free play. I take the Pistons. I don't want to put money on a road favorite. Let's move on to Spurs Magic, and I watched this market move go to 2.5 to 3.5, and I was like, I want the Magic, and now we went back to 3, and now it is back to 3.5. Very interesting. Very interesting. Ronnie Christie saying the over 9-3 in the Pistons games, bookmakers have not adjusted. And liking the over. Thank you for the heads up there. CT Bays on the Grizzlies and the Celtics tonight. Spurs Magic. Magic scoring just 99.4 points per game, allowing just 99.1. Not getting distribution. They played DJ Augustine for the whole 4th quarter in their win over the Sixers. I was on them on the money line, and as soon as he came in and they stopped messing around with Fultz, they started playing very good basketball. Mally Mouse says, I think the Spurs might get a road win tonight. You know, I'm really interested. Oh, and Gegard says this game goes under 200. I really feel like I want to back the Magic here, and I held off just to hear what you guys were saying about this game. Magic won for the 2nd time in a week, 4th time this year. They're 4-7. They're 4-3 at home. All their wins have come at home. Aaron Gordon went for 18 and 13 in that 112-97 win. Fournier and Ross each had 13. Augustine had 12 and 8 off the bench. Isaac had 12. Michael Carter Williams had 11. And Vucevic has a double-double, 8th double-double of the season. I want to back this team. Oh, Yu Cheng Yu liking the Hornets. Nice to have Yu Cheng Yu with us in the house. Mr. Mississippi Razor made money says, I'll take the Spurs -3.5 on coaching. That's a very angry coach right now. Not happy. Nothing Ordinary Sports says Orlando is the play. I want to take Orlando. Ronnie Christie on the Pistons team told over. I want to take Orlando. I want to run with Nothing Ordinary. Gegard says Magic and Spurs are not scoring at will tonight. This is going to be a slow game. Reese says who's going to stop Drummond and Griffin? I like Keller. I said Keller, I meant Zeller. Okay, Cody Zeller, I said Keller. Sorry, I'm trying to think about this Magic game. You know, Dan Kelly says Spurs last 3 on the road is a bad spot for them. I agree it's a bad spot for them. I think this is a spot where the Magic can take advantage. I really do. I think what's going on with the Spurs is real. I expect they trade DeMar DeRozan. And supposedly the Magic are interested in him. Okay, I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to make a move here on this. I'm going to make a move on the Orlando Magic here. Making a move on the Magic. I'm getting 3 at -110. That's available at Bookmaker and Bet365. I figure I've got to make this bet at Bet365 before the end of the show. I think it's going to go back to 3.5. -3 at -110. That's my first today. Can we pop up the NBA record? It went down slightly because I went 2-2 yesterday. So it went down very slightly, but still over that double-digit unit spot, which is where I want to go. Risa Zeller is pretty good defensively, and he can run the floor. I'm going to go with nothing ordinary sports here. I'm going to take the Orlando Magic. Okay, let's keep rolling along. Pacers, Rockets, and some talk about the total. I do not want to take an under against this spot. Nelson Larenko, no need to take the money line. Get the 3. Get the -3. I didn't no need. M. Holland in the house saying Spurs win. I just don't trust the Spurs team right now. Let's move on to Pacers, Rockets here. Pacers, Rockets. We've already heard a very exciting look on this game, and that is the Pacers money line from our Geghard. Hey, that's a ballsy move. A ballsy move, but no Capella for the Rockets. Chandler going to be in there, and that's going to slow the pace down. Rockets coming off their 5th win in a row over the Clippers, 102-93. Their defense looked good. Tucker on Leonard most of the time, and then multiple defenders hammering him. Same thing with Lou Will. Tyson Chandler starting in place of Capella. And the Pacers are getting a win-by-committee approach, and it's working. It's just working right now. So they're on a little winning streak themselves, and 4 different players have scored in double figures off the bench. McDermott, McConnell, Holiday, Badadzi. They're playing good basketball. Scott says, loving me some Pacers. And Dan Kelly going to take the Spurs team total under. Wow, that's an interesting look. Going to copy and paste that. Wow, that's a very interesting look. Okay, and saying that, I'm not going to make a move here, I don't think. I don't want to mess with the Rockets right now. I think they're getting together. Obviously, they're going to be worse with Chandler in there, not Capella. Let's take a look at this total here. Open up at 226 now, 224, 223.5. I can understand why they're doing that. I can understand why the Pacers, Rockets are doing it. Reese, we talk about that quite often on the show, the books with the -1 line. 5 times is one of them. And I have to build my own at this point with where I stand financially. There's Maxwell Smart in the house after another great night. I'm going to take it off. And we have the calculator here for everybody who wants to build their own -1s. This was given to us courtesy of Ron Crawford, whom we love dearly. The great Ron Crawford, who shares his spreadsheet, plays with us all the time. Here we go. And I'm going to paste that. And Corey Mack says, leave that game alone. And I will. And I shall. Let's move on to Sixers Thunder. Sixers opening up at -3.5, which is where they stand now. It's a fishy line. Knowing that Embiid is going to be, expecting Embiid to be back in the lineup after that 112-97 loss to the Orlando Magic. It's a fishy line. Jay Rich goes for 19. Simmons goes for 18 in that loss. The Thunder coming in after getting destroyed on the road against the Indiana Pacers. You have to think that they'll be better. They need their guard play is their whole thing. And when Gilgeous-Alexander's doing nothing, Schroeder's doing nothing, Paul's doing nothing, this team is terrible. And that's what happened against the Pacers. They shot 35.8% from the field and 24% from three-point land. There's Juan Ruiz in the house joining us. Love it. And Edens is on the Rockets -5. Mally Mouse says Rockets rolling. William Wolf says 90% betting the under in Warriors Celtics. Wow, that's interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's a fishy line. I'm very curious to hear how you guys are going to handle this spot, and I will ask Teddy Covers about this spot as well. All right, let's keep rolling. We're going to move on to Jazz Grizzlies here. Jazz 7.5-point favorites on the road. First of all, we have Conley coming back to Memphis. I don't know if I trust they're 2-3 on the road. Let's not look past that. This is a team that's 6-0 at home and 2-3 on the road, and they just pick and choose when they step up. I mean, this is a good basketball team that picks and chooses. Are the Grizzlies going to step up here with Conley coming back to Memphis? It's a very interesting spot. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing, what moves you guys are making here, because I'm hesitant to do anything here. 4th overall pick in the 2007 draft, the franchise leader in games, points, and assists. He was traded for that big package with Crowder and Allen and Korver, who's gone. 2 first-round picks. John Morant stepped up again, and there'll be ebbs and flows for a rookie like this. Scored that game-winning bucket, went for 23 and 11 assists. He's playing good basketball. It's going to be fun to watch him go up against Conley. He's averaged 18.3 points, 5.8 assists. Conley just 14.7 points and 4 assists, but he's getting more comfortable living in Utah. They've won 4 straight. They came back from a 15-point halftime deficit on Tuesday to the Nets. This is a rested group. I don't know what's going to happen. Mr. Stroy says Grizzlies at the half is the best bet of the day. Grizzlies at the half. Seth is taking the under 214 in Memphis Grizzlies. Mally Mouse says Grizzlies first half. How that record looking, boys? Ronald saying no Capella, no defense, back to Rockets overs. Well, but the pace will be slow waiting for Chandler. But I hear that. Corey Mack says, yes, I'm loving the NBA dogs today. Grizz +7 will be a play and sprinkle on the money line. I wonder if that's the play here. Grizzlies plus the points. I'm going to leave that as a lean right now. We got AM Barbecue Sauce City play today. Euro qualifiers, Armenia moneyline plus 240. Match starts in 30 minutes. God, I love AM's plus lines on this Barbecue Sauce City play today. Love it. All right, I'm leaning towards that too, Corey. I like your look there. I think that's enough points, and I think that makes sense. Wow, Yu Cheng Yu Garrett, 1-year ban. Holy. He's lucky he didn't get arrested. All right, Wizards, Timberwolves. We have 3 minutes before we're going to be joined by Donnie right side. So let's see if we can get through these games as fast as possible. First thing I thought when I saw Washington, so I was like, man, this game's going to go way over. And then, of course, everybody else thinking the same thing. This total opened up at 238.5. It's now at 242.5. I'm not going to be messing with that. Wolves are scoring 117.2 points per game, allowing 116.2. Wizards are scoring 115 and allowing 120. Wiggins stepping up for the first time ever. 30-8. With 7 assists in that 129-114 victory over San Antonio. 5 straight performances, at least 25-5. Wizards have lost 6 of 7. They've allowed over 120 points 5 times this year. They're coming off that 140-133 loss. Very interesting to see what you guys have to say about this spot here as well. There's Capper Investments. We got Twatty in the house. Twatty joining us. Love seeing that. We also got DJ Big Boss. Stu Chaos leading Wizards first half. Interesting spot. I think the Wolves will take over down the stretch, but 7 points for this Wolves team at home. They're 3-2 at home so far this year. Scott said Washington, Minnesota should be at 260. Then we have Celtics, Warriors, and Kings, Lakers. Celtics, Warriors, and Kings, Lakers. Celtics, Warriors. Celtics opening up at -8 now, 7.5 in the 7. This total opened up at 225.5 and now at 223.5 or 222.5. Though the Celtics are feeling good about themselves, but they still are on a 9-game winning streak that they want to continue, and that makes me hesitant to fade them right now. Or, I would take the points with the Warriors, but that just makes me very hesitant. They're stepping up, and now they have no Hayward, and they're on a winning streak, and I bet you they keep rolling. There's Midnight Piper joining us in the house. Walker, 25 points in the last game. He's stepping up, and the players around him are as well. Warriors got 94 points in that terrible loss to the Lakers on Wednesday. You have to think that they bounce back somewhat. D'Angelo with just 21. MWMS. M-Wims is on Celtics plus 7.5, and the over says Lakers. Okay, over in Lakers and Kings game. Sorry, I was reading that. Celtics plus 7.5 in the over in the Lakers Kings game. So he's going against the market move there. Let's just touch on the Sacramento Lakers spot quickly and then bring in Donnie right side. The Kings lost 5 straight. They lose De'Aaron Fox. They had already lost Bagley. There was a lot of talk about their terrible coaching and what was going to happen to this team moving forward. And they've turned it around. They're playing good basketball. Bogdanovich goes off for 25 in that win over Portland. They've won 4 of 5. Heald playing well. Belich playing well. They were just playing good basketball, unexpectedly. Lakers have won 9 of 10. We don't know what's going on with Anthony Davis. His status is unknown. I would rest him for as long as possible, personally. It's a Charles Woodson jersey, Max, my man, Charles Woodson. Thank you, Breets Beats. My guy, Breets Beats, in the house. Corey Max says, my insiders say the Warriors win outright tonight. Wow. It does feel like a dangerous spot for the Celtics. It feels like a dangerous spot for the Celtics. They've been on this nice little winning streak, and now they head out west. And that's why the number's moving. I'm not going to make a move on that point right now. I don't feel comfortable going against the Celtics. And I want to know what's going on with AD's shoulder at this point before I make a move on The Lakers. So I'm only going to make one bet at this point on NBA, although I do lean to the Grizzlies, and I may add that when we talk to Teddy about the NBA card. Right now, I'm on the Magic -3 at -110. Let's bring in our guy, Donnie Rightside, every Friday morning on this show. I love having him, Donnie. Football Friday. How you doing, my friend?
Looking forward to it, man. How about an eventful night last night in the NFL on a Thursday night football game? Catapults us right into Sunday. We got the Audible today at 4 o'clock. Football Friday Sportsbook Review. It's what we do, baby.
Feels good. Feels good. Let's get after this NFL card right now. I've made one bet and one play that I've locked in for show purposes as well, and that was the simple look on the Cardinals. There actually has been a little bit of money that's come back in on San Francisco. There was a few tens on the board yesterday. Now there's just, 3 of them. That's my only look on the card right now. Arizona plus 11.5, but there's a lot of moves that I want to make, Donnie. What do you think of me backing the Cardinals first and foremost?
Look, I like it, and a lot of people will tell you sometimes just getting the better of the number is what you're supposed to do, which is a great look, because as even I was looking at New Jersey, Jimmy, -9.5 are actually on the board in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. The one thing is, I think the 49ers are a markedly better football team than Arizona, but then again, you have to factor in 14, 15 guys on the injury report and key positions that they have. It's one of those football games, should they win it? Yes, but it's one where they're just looking to escape with a victory as opposed to impose their will. And let's also not forget what a hard-fought overtime victory on a short week and banged up. I like your direction here, Jimmy, and you got a good number on it.
Eric Nisbet says the under 45 in 49ers Cardinals. That makes sense to me. I don't know if you have the latest information on Kittle, because he's the only one who might be back, but there's going to be no Breda. There's going to be no Sanders as far as I know. You know, you take off the Pro Bowl wide receiver, the Pro Bowl tight end, and your number one running back. How are you going to put up points? And we know that they can slow down this Cardinals offense. Do you know what's going on with Kittle, and what do you think of the under in this spot?
Yeah, Kittle's not going to play in this game, and I like your under look as well, even though we always talk about Arizona and their snap rates being high and more plays equal more chances to score. But if you watch how the 49ers operate, especially with Emmanuel Sanders out, George Kittle out, and some banged-up running backs, Jimmy, it's not a lot of explosion plays that we saw the first couple weeks of the season, like they're running the football as if they were passing it, hitting 30, 40, 50-yard runs. That's not going to take place, and it shouldn't take place in this football game on Sunday, and we're still talking about a super elite defense in San Francisco that can pressure the quarterback. So obviously when you saw Russell Wilson, who is unbelievable at football, making plays out of nothing, you have a good playmaking quarterback on Arizona, but not to the degree of Russell Wilson. I like your underlook here as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's not one that I had initially broke down until our guy Eric Nisbet letting us know about it. Okay, so that might be an addition here, and there is a 45.5 on the board. I'm just going to leave that as an L right now, and I will make a move on it shortly. Okay, let's talk about the marquee game on this card, and that being Patriots-Eagles. I've yet to make a move here. I've locked all my pick six plays in, but I've not touched this game. This game, I mean, I want to watch this game so badly, but I'm very hesitant and scared to make a move. On the show, I was leaning, after hearing you break down the game, I was leaning towards the Patriots and the over. I just don't know how you bet against Bill Belichick off a bye. But I also really agree with the fact that the Patriots have played these garbage football teams, and we don't know who they really are. How are you handling Patriots-Eagles, Donnie?
You know, more and more it looks like, because you want to bet the Eagles in this spot, right? Because you shake your head and say, wait, it opens up at 3.5, it hasn't moved. And all the information coming out, Jimmy, is negative toward the Philadelphia Eagles. Nigel Bradham didn't get healthy off the bye. Alshon Jeffrey, out of nowhere, got hurt late in the fourth quarter. He's probably not going to suit up for the Eagles on Sunday, which leaves you with 3 or 4 wide receivers, Jimmy, that haven't caught a pass in a month and a half, that are going to now be your starting wideouts when your wideouts already stunk before Alshon even got hurt. So then you're saying, all right, how can we dictate the Philadelphia Eagles? How can they play in this football game? You can run a little bit on the New England Patriots. Great. So we'll line up in 12 personnel, which is double tight end sets, and really run the football and get after them. And out of nowhere, Jordan Howard suffers a stinger in the Chicago Bears game that nobody knew about, that he's limited in practice all week. And Doug Peterson has a press conference not too long ago, Jimmy, and says, hey, he hasn't been cleared for contact yet, and it's Friday. And we just flew Jay Ajayi in. He's having breakfast at the facility. Maybe we'll sign him, which leads you to the only viable running back is Miles Sanders. I don't know where the points are coming in this football game. Now, usually I'm looking at this line going 3.5. That looks like a steal for New England. I'm actually shifting more to the total because it's been rising. Opened up at 46, but peaked about 44 in that range. Now going back to 45s. If the Eagles are going to win this football game, Jimmy, going against, theoretically the number one defense in the NFL, you have to slow the game down and run it. And I don't know who you're going to slow it down and even run it with from an Eagles perspective here.
Do you think you're going to pull the trigger on the Patriots at -3.5 after your analysis?
I mean, it just makes sense, but sometimes I look at the line and say, well, why isn't this moved? Because it's been like an 80-20 ticket split all week long, and the line has been frozen. And every turn of events is going against the Eagles. Now, they could get, hey, well, Alshon practiced today, which he hasn't even been that good anyway for the past month. And Jordan Howard would be your key to success in this football game. And if you have a stinger injury, even if he plays, Jimmy, the can re-injure that right away, take one shot on the head, and he's sitting out on the sidelines, which leaves you with a rookie running back and wide receivers that can't catch the ball. We're not going against the Cincinnati Bengals defense here. This defense had an extra week to prepare for an Eagles offense that doesn't have much outside of Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert over the middle. It almost seems to me like a no-brainer, but being a seasoned veteran, as I like to say, in the betting game, something stinks about this line still being here at 3.5.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start pitching spots to you that I would like to pull the trigger on before our show today. And, kind of either give me the green light or give me the stop sign. 2 looks in Saints Buccaneers, and the market went against me, my leans after Tuesday, so I've done nothing. I still want the Buccaneers plus the points, and I'm still interested in the over, even though this total opened up at 52 and it's gone down to 49 at Heritage. So, of those 2 plays, do you give me the green light on both or neither? Saints, Buccaneers. Buccaneers plus the points in the over.
I still like the Buccaneers plus the points. I think they're going to be live, and some people argue, and rightfully probably so, that this should be a great bounce back spot for the New Orleans Saints. But taking the dome team going back on the road, and you have seen a lot of fight out of this Tampa Bay squad. Let's also not forget that really good offensive line was very porous last week against what we thought was a bad pass rush from the Atlanta Falcons. Now going to also be down one of their better offensive linemen, Andrew Pete broke his arm. He's going to miss the game. But more importantly than that, that has a very good defense for New Orleans. They're going to be down their best cornerback in this football game. So if you're looking to take a leap and maybe a team that can hang around, as long, and we say this every week, Jimmy, right? As long as Jameis Winston doesn't have the knuckle-headed play, I think they get the cover in this football game.
And if you had a free play on the total, what move would you make?
It's Tampa Bay, and I know New Orleans is playing a lot better on defense. Tampa Bay doesn't play 2 unders for me, Jimmy. If it's a free play, I'll take the over all day long with Tampa Bay games.
But of the 2, you greenlight the Bucks.
I think the Bucks are live at home. I really do think they're live at home. I do.
Falcons, Panthers, another market move that went against my lean towards the over, so I did nothing. What do you think about taking the over in this spot?
This is one of the tougher games, and I would say more of the vanilla look, because I think people are getting caught up and saying, "Oh, Atlanta looked really good last week. Let me take a second look," as opposed to throwing out what they did the past 5 to 6 weeks. And the same thing with Carolina. They went up to Green Bay, didn't look all that great, even though they were down to the last play of the game, could have forced overtime. If I'm looking at Atlanta and Carolina going outside of the dome, you want to look at defenses. You think the Atlanta defense will snap back, and what I mean is, well, they played well last week. I mean, snap back to their old form and look quite porous, because if run CMC out there, Christian McCaffrey, gets going, it could be a long day for the Atlanta defense. But I do think the offense of Carolina snaps back. I'm not really so sure about the total itself, but I got to tell you, I don't agree with the 6.5s and the 7s moving down the 4s now at this point. I think you're getting some value back on Carolina going back home.
Here's another move that the market went against me, and I was like, just do nothing right now and just sit on it. I'm not seeing things clearly. We talk on the show about the under in Broncos-Vikings, and it's moving to the over. It opens at 39.5. I believe on Tuesday I could have got 40. Now it's at 40.5. What do you think of me going against the market move on the under in Broncos-Vikings?
I still like the under. You have to preference this by saying who's going to line up. Looks like Adam Thielen's going to miss this football game again. You have some pretty good defensive backs on the Broncos football team. You're playing on the road. You have a rookie quarterback who he had 2 touchdown passes. One, a tight end broke like 9 tackles and went like 75 yards, and one was a missed throw in the end zone that Cortland Sutton made an unbelievable play on for a touchdown pass. So now you're going to go in and go against Mike Zimmer, who has been known to dial up some diabolical blitzes, especially against guys that aren't used to recognizing certain coverages. This has all the feel to me, Jimmy, and I'll say it again, 19-9, 21-10 type game. I don't see where are the points coming from on both sides. Are they going to run roughshod on the Denver defense, which is top 5? No. Is the Denver Broncos on offense with basically one wide receiver and a nice running back going to go up and down the field on Minnesota? It doesn't have the vibe to me as an over game. The only way you would look toward an over if you get one, a couple fluke plays, a punt return, a pick six, which could happen in the NFL. We've seen it before, but this game does not scream at all towards an over. One bit to me, Jimmy.
Okay. So green light there. I told you on the show, I was like, look, I want to back the Redskins this week. And
yes,
you guys in the chat got me to stop and wait and be like, look, you really want to back this football team? And the market's gone with me. And I mean, I guess the 1 point to 2 points or 2.5 points isn't that big of a deal. But I don't think I want to be sitting here on Sunday with $200 on the Redskins. So I have a question mark beside the Redskins. What do you think of this market move towards them? And if I wanted them, would you give me the green light?
I got to tell you, I agree with it now, Jimmy. It's funny because we talk. This is great about why we have a couple shows a week that we can talk things over, mull things over, sit on things. And I was under the agreement saying on Tuesday, you know what? The Jets just look like a better team, and you get the rookie quarterback, and he didn't look so good so far. But you have the time to say, all right, they're off a bye, so they're going to be working. He's going to be in the playbook. He's already had the feel of games. But the one thing that's really swaying me back to the Washington Redskins, Jimmy, is I think the defense is going to be able to hold up for the Redskins and slow down the Jets offense. Let's remember here, the Jets have one of the single worst offenses in football. This isn't the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town where you have to go toe-to-toe. So points that you would have to score against the Jets to beat them, theoretically, maybe get to 21 points, let's just say, as a barometer that we can use. But you know what I keep looking at, Jimmy? Because it's really who you play, right? So if you say they played the Bears at home, the Giants, they looked all flat, they threw at Dwayne Haskins, and I understand that. But let's start about the next couple set of games, which is really how you want to quantify this game, especially with the rookie quarterback that has finally gotten a start under his belt. You played the New England Patriots, best defense in football. You go to Miami, even though the rookie wasn't in, you still end up with a win in that football game. And let's say, hey, look, Miami's been game the past couple weeks. Maybe they're not really as bad as we thought they were. Then you play the San Francisco 49ers in a rainstorm, one of the best defenses in football. Then you go to Minnesota, a top 5 defense. Then you go to Buffalo, a top 5 defense. You're going to get a little bit of a respite here. Jets aren't nearly going to be the type of defensive team that they saw the past couple weeks. I actually think you got to add. I agree with the line movement, and I agree with the Redskins. I think they get the win and cover here, Jimmy.
Still so tough to trust Haskins, but this should be his coming out party. He's talk about the easiest defense that he's seen. You're coming off a bye. Callahan should have these guys prepared. Okay.
Look at the Jets on the road. Like even in the past couple games, no show at Jacksonville, no show at Miami. I mean, this isn't a really good football team that we're heading into. And you know what I actually like even more? When you put people to the test and you say, like, your job's on the line, right? So you got to come with a victory. They get one against the Giants. And then your ownership comes out and says, this guy's fine. He's not going to get fired at the end of the year. He will be back next year. So you take that deep breath. Oh, man. So if we go into Washington and lose, ain't that big of a deal. I'll still be back next year, and I'll have a better football team. If the Jets owner came out, Jimmy, and said, you know what? He's week to week right now. Let's see what he's got. Their A game would be back on display. I think Washington wins. As crazy as it is, I didn't want to back a rookie quarterback. I think Washington's in a pretty good spot here.
I held off betting the Texans, although I want them. I want the Texans plus the points. I don't have a 4.5 available in my book, a 4. There's still 4.5s at Pinnacle and Bet Online. I did take them in the Pick 6 contest. Would you give me the green light to bet the Houston Texans this week?
Look, it's a tough game because you're going against all your instincts, right, Jimmy? You say, boy, man, we watched Baltimore out here lay the wood on really bad teams and lay the wood on undefeated New England Patriot teams, and now you're going to hang like a 4.5 on the board. Coming off a bye is huge. Now, also what you want to watch later in the week here, because they can do some things. I'm talking about the Houston Texans offense that can really confuse and put up some points against the Baltimore Ravens, who did have a nice shot in the arm, getting Marcus Peters back. That was great. Now you get Jimmy Smith healthy at cornerback on the opposite side. That's a pretty formidable team. But Houston's going to be able to move the football here. The one thing I do want to watch, which I've been keeping an eye on, especially all week long, practice reports are coming back. If Will Fuller comes back in this football game, there's no better wide receiver core in the NFL than the Houston Texans when all 3 of those guys are lined up and ready to go. Me and Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, and DeAndre Hopkins. That means we're going to get some points. But also I do want to bring into the fact that even though that line has moved up in the over, and I agree, we're going to get some points in this football game, it's now looking like, Jimmy, going to be a little bit colder and a little bit windier there in Baltimore. So that also brings back in effect the kicking game where Tucker is used to that. Bad conditions, doesn't matter, one of the best kickers of all time. That could be a big thing here deciding the end of the football game. So if we're going to get some windy conditions here, I think I lean towards Houston. As long as that line doesn't dip obviously below 3, which we don't think it's going to get there. 4.5 is a pretty good number here for Houston coming off of a bye. I think they could be game in this one.
I think so too. Am I too late on the Raiders? I could have bet them earlier. I don't know why I didn't take them at the 10.5 that we talked about. I didn't realize that they'd moved up to 11.5 or 12 at 5 dimes. Is this too many points now? Should I lay off this Raiders team? Are they a good enough team right now to start covering by, 13, 14, 15 points against the Bengals? Everybody else is carving up the Bengals. Why wouldn't the Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, they're cutting guys. We're talking about the Bengals here. Middle linebacker signed last year, 3 years, $20 million. He's now gone. Now you're seeing also, keep an eye on one other object in this game. Defensive tackle Geno Atkins showed up on the report as a bad, bulky knee, didn't practice yesterday. If he doesn't go in this football game, I'm not sure how Cincinnati actually gets stops. And again, we're going to have a lot of bias out here because we came into the football season talking about the Oakland Raiders saying, you know what, it's a really bad football team. You have to sort of throw that bias out the window and see what they're actually operating and doing on offense. The defense isn't all that great, but you're going to get another quarterback that doesn't deserve to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And A.J. Green's not coming back to say, hey, man, win some of these 50-50 balls to keep the offense going. They looked horrific last week on offense, even in blowout time when you can easily move the football up and down the field and get some points against the Ravens. They couldn't do that. So if you want to say, well, the Ravens' defense is a little bit better than Oakland, I would agree with that. But when we're going toe-to-toe in this football game, Jimmy, just looking at some of the little things that we think that matter. Yards per play. The Oakland offense is 5th in the NFL yards per play. Look at Cincinnati, 32nd in the NFL. Passing yards per play, 7th. Cincinnati, 32nd. It's almost like one of those games like to play name that tune on the score. Oakland should be able to do whatever they want. Now, does that theoretically turn into an over in this football game? I'm not sure because I don't know what we're getting out of Cincinnati. And also that old adage of, you just can't lay double digits with this Raiders team. They'll let you down. I disagree with that. So if you have that added theory, Jimmy, or maybe it's a little bit too many points, look towards the first half here. Some outlets here still showing 6s, most showing 6.5s. Oakland should be up a touchdown at the half, 17-7 at the half. Come on, man. That should be easy.
Yes, that is the look. I'm going to make that a move before.
You get it under a touchdown. They should be. If they're not up a touchdown, good luck covering the second half, and they could do that. But if you think Oakland's going to come out smoking, again, they had extra time to prepare, and a road team, Cincinnati, going on the road, they're not going to be excited to play this football game. Then they have a win. Look for Oakland to be energized with that crowd in the first half. They should be up a touchdown in this one, Jimmy.
I think so too. I'm going to jump on that for sure. That's a great breakdown. And then finally, I want to wait. We'll hammer the Monday nighter with Whale Capper on our Audible, but the Bears and the under. I lost that hook. There's now 40s. I want the Bears and I want the under. Do you give me a green light on both those?
You know what? I'm trying to find an angle for this football game because if you watch last week, Pittsburgh doesn't have a very good offense. You saw it last night versus Cleveland. You saw it last week versus the Rams. But the one thing that really have to caution against the Rams is protecting Jared Goff, who's not very mobile. And you know that the Chicago Bears front four is going to be able to pressure Jared Goff and make him do some things that he probably doesn't want to do. But having looked at the other side, Jimmy, even though it's 6 points and it looks like it's even coming down, so 6.5s are now basically gone, I don't know if I can trust Chicago. It's simple. I think Jared Goff can make the passes when they're open. When I flip it over on the opposite side, Jimmy, I'm not so sure Trubisky can just make the average play just to keep the ball moving. And the one thing, if you're looking to back the Bears in this game, if you're looking to take a side, Montgomery goes down on Wednesday with an ankle injury. If he's not able to go or be 100%, they have Allen Robinson at wide receiver who's now going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. Outside of that, it's like they don't even have a single NFL talented guy that can actually play football on the offensive side. So it's hard for me to take, which then plays into what, Jimmy? The total. Good luck if we think this is going to be a track meet up and down the field. Again, the only way that this game is going to get over 41 or 42 points is if you get 2 or more scores that aren't from the offense, meaning an interception return, a punt return, or something like that. This game just screams under because you have a good pass rush on both sides, one quarterback that's just not an NFL guy, and the other one trying to prove it as the number 1 overall pick that he's really not an NFL guy the way he's playing either at this point, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think I've got to slow down on my Bears. Look, I think I do, but the under should be a green light. Okay. Great stuff, Donnie. Of all the games that we didn't touch on, because I was just using you for my own personal advantage there. Of all the games you didn't touch on, what look do you like the most of the games that we haven't hit? And we hit most of them, but like Jags, Colts, Bills, Dolphins. I guess from those, God, we almost hit all of them. Jags, Colts, Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers. Is there a look in any of those three games that you like?
I'll tell you what's interesting, and you probably missed the line here. It's one of these, Jimmy, that I was looking at was the Dallas and Detroit line. I was looking in New Jersey at FanDuel yesterday. You knew Stafford probably wasn't going to play. It was sitting at 4, and it's one of those, do I just pull it because I think I'm going to get the better number? Do I actually agree with the play? And then we wake up today, it's 6.5 and 7s. Looks like Stafford's not going to play in that football game. But I got to tell you, the one I'm really struggling with the most, and I can't wait to break down with you today on the Audible once we get a little bit more information, is I'm really intrigued by Jacksonville and Indianapolis because what are we actually getting back from Foles? If we're going to get a leg up and some competent quarterback play, getting them in that +3 role going into Indianapolis, I think is a really good value look just from the perspective that the Indianapolis Colts, what do we really get from their offense at this point? And their defense is middle of the road. If Jacksonville can go up there and not turn the football over, Nick Foles have a decent football game, I think not only they can win that game, but they can hang within that number, worst case scenario here. Can't wait to break that one down with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to break that spot down as well. Jags hanging within the number. What a treat, Donnie. After everything that we've talked about, the one that really jumped out at me would be the Raiders first half. And I'm going to pull the trigger on that before our show.
I like it.
And I think I will pull a couple more triggers from the ones that you, the green light lit for me. Donnie, what a treat it is to roll with you. Follow this man on Twitter, Right Side VP. Follow him on Twitter. Great follow. I can't wait to work with you today on the Audible Whale Capper, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us on these Friday mornings. Myself and everybody in the chat loves it immensely. Thank you so much, my friend.
Awesome, man. I enjoy it, and I'll get my plays over to you in the next hour. We'll set them up. We'll put them on the screen. We'll laugh at each other. We'll cry maybe at some of these plays that don't work out next Tuesday. But it is what it is. All the information possible. Sports information is what you need. The Audible, me, Jimmy, and we're all going to give that to you at 4 o'clock. Join us. Thanks for having me on the show this morning, Jimmy. Good luck, my man.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much, Donnie. There he is, Donnie Rightside. We go legend to legend on Fridays. We go from Donnie Rightside right over to Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, my man, how are you doing on this Friday morning?
I'm grumpy this morning, man. I had North Carolina last night. I didn't like anything about the way that game ended. How about you?
I'm running hot right now. I'm now double-digit profits in double-digit units in both NHL and NBA, and NHL ROI at 18%, NBA ROI at 30%. I feel good, and I feel like it's teamwork that's doing this for me. And I got myself out of a hole. Teddy, a bad hole, like CFL, NFL combined was down like in the last 2 weeks, like $1,700. And then I lost $500 on the breeders, and I've made that all back in NBA and NHL. And also Max Smart on our late show has been crushing it the last 48 hours. So I'm 9-1. They're $100 a pop bets, but 9-1, tailing him the last 10. So I've got myself out of a hole, and now I want to feel the black. I want the black. I got to be in the black. I know the black is coming my way, and I'm very excited. We just broke down NFL. And we always want to hear your looks or what you like the best on Fridays. And I'm not seeing things clearly. I'm getting crushed in NFL. It's ruined my last few months. Other sports are going well, and NFL keeps dragging me down. Teddy, what are the looks on this NFL card that appeal to you the most?
So there are 5 looks on this card that I'm interested in. And let's start with one game where I'm interested in side and total. That would be the Texans plus and the over. I'm involved in both. I think they're correlated. I wouldn't argue if you put them together. I don't know that Houston is going to cover the number unless they're scoring points, because I think Lamar Jackson's going to get his. But, boy, I look at this game as a legit shootout. I look at the Texans' defense as being a whole lot better than what Baltimore was able to do last week against Cincinnati. And I look at this point spread range. And it says to me that my powering numbers have these two teams dead even, and the markets don't right now. So I'm interested in taking the number with the Texans, and I think that's going to be a high scoring game. Lamar and Deshaun. This one has potential to be a lot of fun. So Texans and over made my NFL card. I took Arizona. I got 11.5. What's it down to now? 10. The injury report for San Francisco was ugly. I mean, that's an ugly looking report. Coming off their first loss of the season, facing a feisty opponent that's hanging around in every game. Arizona came through the back door against them a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they do it again here. But I liked it a lot better at 11.5 than I do at 10. But that's in my pocket, and I want to let you know everything that's in my pocket right here. On Sunday Night Football, I took the Chicago Bears. Found it 7 early in the week. It's 6 and 6.5 right now. I wouldn't argue with 6.5 on Chicago. The Rams can't be laying. This offense cannot be laying, and that's my handicap. This offense can't be laying this price, period. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I've watched the Rams enough. And this is the Jared Goff game. When Goff faces a good defense, we see what we saw last week, which is the Rams don't score touchdowns. So that's not a team I want to be laying a TD with. And here's the ugly one, and I can't seem to talk myself out of it. When I want to get it, what I really tried when I make a case for betting against the Patriots, I try to talk myself out of it. Over the long term, it hasn't really worked very well for me. But New England's not the right side this week. And when we start to look at the Patriots season, okay, let me just get it here real quick, because New England's worth talking about for a minute, because their statistical profile is through the roof, and it's the Patriots, and we all know. And boy, Patriots off a loss, what's it, 70% long term? Patriots off a bye, huge. So it's really again 2 out of 3 long term. It's not an easy thing to do to step in front of New England this week, and I fully understand if nobody else wants to do that. I'm not a believer in the Patriots right now. I'm really not. And when we talk about who they play, their wins, they beat the Steelers week 1. Pittsburgh's bad game. And New England looked great. Okay. Miami, the Jets, the Redskins, the Giants, the Jets. That's 5 bottom feeders. Okay, then we look at the competitive games. They played the Bills. The Bills aren't that good. That was a life and death game. Buffalo was right in that game. Had a chance to beat them. They played the Browns, and they won by 2 touchdowns. You remember the game? Cleveland was right even with them in that game. New England made the plays, and that's what they do sometimes. And I might lose this game because of that. But it wasn't like there was a class difference between the Patriots and the Browns when those 2 teams were on the same field. And then obviously we saw what happened when they played Baltimore. So they played 3 real teams this year, and they've been tested all 3 times. Philly's a real team coming off a bye, catching 3.5. I'm interested. That's where I'm at in the NFL.
Well, the first 4 looks, the over I find very interesting in the Texans-Baltimore, and that hadn't quite registered for me. But Texans, Cardinals, Bears, I got to the window. The only bet I got to the window with was Cardinals plus 11.5. But Bears, I want. Texans, I want. That the Eagles game scares me. And I almost feel like I'm seeing things so poorly in NFL that nobody wants to hear I'm on the same side as them right now. But I like.
You're going to mush me, Jimmy? Don't be mushing me, Jimmy. I'm running good in the NFL the last couple of weeks.
I can't help it, man. I can't help it. But I like this. I like this a lot. Texans in the over, Bears plus. What do you think about the under 40 in that Bears-Rams spot?
I'm hesitant to bet that under. I think that we could see defensive scores in this game. Let's just put it that way. I also think that we're going to see coaches going for it on 4th down. Which is, you're not what you want when you're betting unders. You want to take the points, take the field goal. That's fine. But these are 2 coaches that are going to go for it on 4th down. So no, it's not an under I'm going to bet. I understand it, but it's not one I'm going to bet.
Let's move into the association. It took me 30 games in NBA to hit double-digit units, but then last night 2-2. Last night was 2-2, and I had the Suns. It was a pretty easy situation for me. And they smashed. And I had the Bulls. I felt comfortable all game. It wasn't too easy by the end of it. And then I doubled up on the Nuggets first quarter, first half, and that gave me a 2-2 night. But I feel like I'm seeing things clearly in the NBA, and I only have one look right now on the Magic -3. That's my only look in NBA right now. Before we talk about my look on Magic -3, I'd like to hear what you've already got to the window with, and then I will start asking more questions about certain games. What have you hammered so far on this NBA card?
The only thing I played was the Pistons. I played the Pistons at 3. That number's already been bet up to 3.5. From Charlotte's not very good. The energy's there. Defensively, they're going to have issues, and they're going to have hot quarters, and they're going to make some runs and all of that. But this is not a good basketball team. The Pistons have one game in a week. Okay, they had that weird travel situation the other night down in Florida, where they got in at 5 a.m. after issues. And that was a game, obviously, where Griffin and Rose both sat after playing one. This is the Pistons game. If you want to, it really is the Pistons game. When you consider the circumstances they've had over the last week, the fact they've lost 3 in a row, this is their opponent, an opponent they can beat. I just think Detroit's a good notch or two better, and this is a buy low spot. I thought it was at 3. Obviously, they're taking money now, but the Pistons are better. -3 was very reasonable.
That play makes sense. I've kept my quantity of plays down in NBA, and I'm just not taking road favorites at all.
Makes sense.
Huh? Yeah, when we look over my number, what are the mistakes I make in previous years? And I'm just trying to keep very steadfast. And I'm doing the same thing in NHL, and I broke it in NHL today, but I've been taking no road favorites in either sport at this time. I'm very interested in possibly taking the Grizzlies plus the points against the Jazz. I feel like the Jazz just pick and choose when they want to take over a game. My issue with this spot is what happens with Conley going back to Memphis. Who do you see stepping up with Conley coming back to Memphis for the first time? How do you plan, or how would you attack this Jazz-Grizzlies game? Let me see if we still have 7.5s right now, just going back to, and Jazz-Grizzlies. Yeah, we're still sitting at 7.5. This total's dropped from 216.5 to 214.5. What do you think of being my interest in the Grizzlies plus 7.5 at home?
That's the only way I would look. I certainly would not try to talk you out of that look. And it's not a day where I love the card, but give me a free bet on that game, and I'm on Memphis for 2 reasons. One, you asked where the benefit comes with Conley going back. I think it goes to his former teammates. I really does, as opposed to the guys, the new team. So Memphis is going to come to play tonight, and the Jazz have some ridiculous-looking early season defensive stats, and that's my biggest concern about this game. There's a chance that Utah will just shut them down, and the Grizzlies' young backcourt will struggle against a really strong stop unit. And the Jazz stats are through the roof, which is why they're taking all this money, why they're being overpriced in a sense. They're not winning games by big margin. They're not built that way necessarily. So I would, and offensively, they're still very much a work in progress with Conley now. I thought it would be smoother at the beginning of the season. It hasn't been. They're still finding their role. So Grizzlies or pass is a clear choice for me. I would not be laying in the spot with Utah.
I'm very close to making a move there on the Grizzlies. And then finally, what do you think of this market move towards the Warriors at home against Boston? Does the 9-game winning streak keep Boston sharp, or is this a letdown spot going across the coast and facing the Warriors?
I don't know that it's a letdown spot for anybody going across and facing the Warriors on national TV. I can only take the Celtics here. And there seems to be some betting market support for Golden State. And when the Warriors are hitting shots, they're going to hang around in games. But again, Golden State, if not the worst team in the NBA, it might be 29, but they're probably 30. And if you've been Kerr's telling us again and again and again, we're not playing any defense. We don't know how to play defense. And their stats show that very clearly. And the last thing I want to do is take a team that can't get stops against a Celtics squad that they're offensively efficient. I'll just put it that way. And Boston, the other thing that happened against the Wizards, I don't know if anyone watched that game on was that Wednesday? I forget if it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. But Boston was dominating that game, thoroughly in control, up 16, 4 or 5 minutes to go, and they kind of fell asleep. And the Wiz went on a 12-0 run, and all of a sudden Stevens got to put starters in, and it's a 4-point game, and it's so when you see that one game, one would think with a team like Boston, that'll be corrected the next game. So, does that make sense? Celtics are pass.
Yeah, and I don't want to get in the way of the Celtics, and you mentioned that last week, and I've just kept that. So great stuff. Okay, Teddy Covers is on the Pistons, and I am very close to pulling the trigger on the Grizzlies, but I am going to sit with it just a tiny bit longer. I know we've already spoken about the NFL, Rafa, but we're going to go back to the NFL for a quick second. I'd be curious to hear this answer as well, although I hear it from Flash at work all the time. I just want to hear your perspective. And Prince of the City, our guy, says, ask Teddy what he sees good in the Eagles. He says, what am I missing living here in Philadelphia? That's from Prince of the City. And I'd be interested. I have futures on the Eagles. I have them at even money to win the division from the beginning of the year. I have them, to win the conference, to win the bowl. What do you think? How would you answer that question for Prince of the City?
I've got futures on Philadelphia too, okay? And my concept is this. I got the Eagles over-season win ticket, and I haven't given up on that yet. Not at all. What do I see good about Philly is take the first half of the season and chuck it. That's what I see good about Philly. I don't believe that what we've seen so far is the best the Eagles have to offer. They've been injured on both sides of the football. I am worried about the skill position talent. I'm worried about the lack of a deep threat. But when we say what team has the potential to play better than they've already played, and significantly better than they've already played, Philadelphia comes to the top of the list for me, or close to it. I think Wentz is good. I think the offensive line is good. I think the running game's good. I know the defensive line is good. I understand the secondary's had their fair share of issues, but if you're getting pressure on the quarterback, that solves some of those problems. But more than any other factor, I'm trying to be proactive, not reactive. I think the Eagles will play better over the back half of the season than they did over the front half of the season. But more than anything, I just don't think the Patriots are that dominant. I think their statistical profile does not reflect accurately how good the team is. New England's good. They may be very good. Their stats are off the chart. And that's why they're laying 3.5 here.
That was a great answer. I enjoyed that immensely. Okay, let's move over to college football. Before we break down the looks that Teddy's on from earlier in the week, and we see one game here that he's on already, and we'll get to that game secondly. First off, though, let's talk Louisiana Tech Marshall. Yenny Toon says, ask Teddy about Louisiana Tech Marshall tonight. Why is Louisiana Tech a 6.5-point dog? And then he says, I like Louisiana Tech. Marshall opening up -2.5, and now, as Yenny said, 6.5. This total opened up at 56 and can be got at 55 at Pinnacle or 53.5 at BetOnline. Teddy, this is an interesting game. La Tech Marshall.
I mean, La Tech's got guys suspended. Their quarterback, Jamar Smith, is suspended for tonight. The receiver, Adrian Hardy, suspended. That's what that line move is all about. Big issues for the road team in that regard. So I can understand the Marshall money.
Do you agree with that 6.5 now? Do you think that this is a spot where Marshall runs all over them at home?
I have zero feel, and I didn't get a sense for exactly what happened. That the guys got suspended. It wasn't a game that I was putting a whole lot of time into. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there's clearly something going on behind the scenes at Louisiana Tech. And that's worth investigating if you're going to make a wager on this one.
All right. Sorry, Viper NB in the house saying, how'd you do yesterday? Yesterday was a nice day. 3-2 in NHL, but one was a plus 150, 140. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I also hit that over in Dallas at plus 125, over 5.5, or in Vancouver, Dallas, Vancouver. So it was a great day. 2-2 in NBA, and then 2-0 in NCAA. But 2-0 in my bets, 3-0 with my official plays. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Do you feel more comfortable now that San Diego State is back the favorite again at home against Fresno State?
Yeah, I'm holding my Aztecs way. I was reading around, and I found nothing that says that there's something wrong with San Diego State. What I found was a lot of opinion that Fresno's about to make a run. I played the Aztecs, and I'm holding it, and I got a good number with it, and it's all good with San Diego State. I'll take my shot with Rocky Long squad tonight.
And what do you think about this total here? This total opened up at 44.5. It's down to 43 at Pinnacle, 43.5 at all the other shops.
I'm not betting a whole lot of San Diego State games over. If you're trying to get the San Diego State games over, you're going to be struggling. But when we start talking about these lower totals in college football and the NFL both, I mean, all it takes is one cheap score or one defensive score or one special teams play or something funky, and all of a sudden you're sweating. And I mean, I didn't get involved. I mean, an under makes sense in this game. If Fresno gets in the 20s, my San Diego State's not looking in great shape for tonight. But on the other hand, Agnew's okay. Agnew can chuck the football around a little bit, and all year we're saying, San Diego State, one of these days they're going to explode, and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's just that's the way Rocky Long's teams are, but Fresno's defense isn't that good. San Diego State has, in my mind, a pretty big defensive edge in this ball game, and that what that does with the total, I don't know. Maybe San Diego State does get something going offensively. They're certainly due to, but they've been due for about 10 years to get going offensively into Rocky Long, and it just hasn't happened all that often.
All right, I am copying and pasting questions coming in. We're going to go over Teddy's card from earlier in the week in a second. I know the answer to this, so we don't need to be long on this, but Paul Costa saying, hey, Jimmy, please ask Teddy's opinion on buying half points and paying a little extra juice to avoid hooks. Worth it or not for the bankroll sake? And you've answered this question before, but could you touch on it briefly once more?
Yeah, of course. I mean, anyone that's talking about buying half points, my advice would be open up another sportsbook account. Sportsbook Review has all these reviews of all these different sports books. They all have bonuses. You can get involved. If you have $100 to bet, find 2 accounts and bet for $50. Better yet, find 4 accounts and deposit $25 in each one. Buying half points, if you're betting properly, if you have the ability to access multiple lines, you rarely have to buy half points. And from a value standpoint, when you're paying 10 cents to get your 5.5 down to 5, I don't know of a professional bet. Once in a while, I see guys buying 6.5s up to 6, up to 7. That's the half points around the 3s. You're paying 25 cents. I mean, the price is enormous to buy the half points around 3s. I don't do it. I look for the line, and if you have access, if you're line shopping from when they open on Sunday till when they get there on Saturday, you're not going to be missing the half points, and you're not going to have to buy them.
I agree. Well put. I agree. Well put. Okay, let's take a quick look at what Teddy jumped on throughout the week. And I was not here yesterday, so we'll keep going through. Indiana, we've got San Diego State that's going tonight. I'm talking about games for Saturday. Indiana plus 14.5. Minnesota plus 3, a spot that he doubled up on. Central Michigan plus 3. Then you added Texas plus 7. On Wednesday, you added UMass plus 40.5. Have you got to the window on anything yesterday or, since we spoke on Wednesday?
Did you bring up Indiana?
Yes, Indiana plus 14.5 from Monday, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I played, we talked about Wyoming and Cal yet?
No, because as of Wednesday, you were waiting to see if you were going to get the 7s for either Wyoming or Cal.
Okay, I'm not getting 7s with either one. I didn't get 7s with either one. And Wyoming, so I took the plus 6.5 when it went back, when it started going down, and I was reading some stuff this morning. I may well buy back Utah State in that game. That's not a strong opinion for me anymore. The Cal I like. And the Cal at 6.5 is in pocket now. I didn't find a 7. I don't think we're going to see a 7. There's a decent chance that we could see Chase Gabers back this week. And I don't know that Wilcox is going to say anything before kickoff. But Cal to me was that 6.5 was worthy of a wager. We talked about Texas, right, at plus 7. That's an auto bet. Much like Central Michigan's an auto bet for me. UMass. We talked about UMass, right?
Yep.
At 40.5, and that's I held my nose and played it. Did we talk about UCLA?
No.
That's another one that I held my nose and play. At plus 21.5 at UCLA.
Oh wow.
At Utah, I should say. And I feel like I've gotten my teeth kicked in betting against Utah a couple times this season, but 21.5 I thought was too much. UCLA's got a buy sign for me. So that's one I'm involved with. Then I found a rogue 13.5 with the Cincinnati Bearcats. At 14, I don't know. I was leaning Cincinnati, and there was 113.5. I'm like, all right, I'll bet this one. That's betting number 327 at South Florida. At 14, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of it, but that was one where I'm like, yeah, let's grab this. I'm not a USF fan, and I think that if Cincy can run the football against that defense, it could get ugly.
All right, Cincy minus 13.5. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, and yeah, Paul Costa is right. Ronnie Christie asking about Teddy's NBA looks. He's on the Pistons. Okay, I love it. There are his looks. We have questions coming in. Feel free to start firing them at us, and we will get to them. The first one is from Suze387. Suze387. I'm sorry, I got to move over to spreads and totals. Suze from over in Hawaii, always wanting to know what's going on with that squad. Says, can you ask Teddy about Hawaii versus UNLV? Says, I think the new quarterback will tear up the Rebels. Will tear up the Rebels here. And I don't have it in front of me. I'm trying to find it here. Rotation number quickly. I can't. There we go.
It's at the end. 390. It's like 391.
Yeah,
I think
391, 392.
Yeah, it's Friday, dude. Don't worry about it. Monday, you got to work me with the rotation numbers. Friday, I know where they are on the schedule, so I can find my notes quicker.
Oh, I love it. All right, Hawaii, UNLV. Hawaii opening up at minus 6.5. There's still 1 6.5. 7's everywhere else. This total opened up at 71. It's up to 73.5 for 74. Do you think the new quarterback for Hawaii tears up the Rebels?
So Hawaii's last 5 games, 59-37, 56-26, 45-31, 41-38, 42-40. They're not stopping anyone, and they're scoring against everyone. UNLV, okay, and all those games go over the total. Every one of them goes over the total. Last week got over 77. UNLV, okay, defensively, they're not going to stop a good passing game. Not going to happen. Fresno lit them up. Boise lit them up. Wyoming ran the ball down their throat. Arkansas State lit them up. UNLV's defense is bottom tier. But against Hawaii's defense, we've seen a couple of times this year the Rebels move the football effectively, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do here. Coming off a bye, Sanchez isn't going to make it through the year. They know that. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rebels give effort in this game, and I would expect another high-scoring Hawaii game. I'm looking at this one to go over the total.
Over the total. Okay. Questions are coming in right now. The first one here from Christian Walsh, wants to know about this Louisville NC State spot. Louisville NC State. And I'm going to be grabbing it as missing yesterday. I don't remember where all of these games are.
333, 334.
Oh, perfect. Here we go. 333, 334. I have Missouri State, Illinois State. But regardless, what do you think about this spot, Louisville, NC State, Teddy?
You're looking at college hoops, buddy.
Oh, no, I'm on NCAA football.
Missouri State at 333, 334? Not a board team.
Yeah, unless there's something wrong here with the odds page here at Sports Review, 333, 334. Missouri State. Yeah, but whatever. That's what I've got here in front of me. I'll refresh it. What do you think of this spot here with Louisville?
So I don't know anyone that likes NC State this week. Not one person have I talked to who's like, yeah, I can make a case for NC State. And that always concerns me when it's all one-way action. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, there's no comparison between these two teams. All that being said, Louisville's banged up at the QB position. The Wolfpack, after facing, it's been ugly against BC and Wake and Clemson, where the defense has been gashed in every one of those games and the offense hasn't been able to keep them competitive. And yet the number feels short, doesn't it? It feels short for this one. I'll just leave it at this. It doesn't smell right. And I understand the case for Louisville. And I don't trust Louisville's defense in order to cover this number. So lean Cardinals, but it's not one that I'm going to bet.
Next question.
And you know what I mean by it doesn't smell right? Jimmy, does that make sense?
Oh, it does.
Sometimes the number's like, all right, it It just doesn't smell right. I don't know how, it's like, yeah, why didn't this open 7.5,
Oh, absolutely. And those are just stay away spots for me as well. The next question Christian asking about is 381, 382, 10th ranked Oklahoma, 12th ranked Baylor. Oklahoma opening up at -9, now up to 11 at a couple books, and this total stuck at 67.5. Oklahoma, Baylor, Teddy.
I can only take Baylor. I mean, and I haven't pulled the trigger, but I can only take Baylor. It's not like the markets have been giving Baylor any respect all year long. Not like they're getting any respect this week. They're certainly not going to trade points with Oklahoma, but defensively, maybe good enough to get some stops. Now, it's a little bit scary because the Sooners, I mean, what they were able to do against Iowa State's got a good defense. And Oklahoma lit them up last week, and I haven't seen anyone really stop this team. So that is a concern for me. But the only way I could play it is take the undefeated team at home. And that, when you look at the long-term trends, it's a very profitable subset that Baylor is in this week, even off a wild triple OT game. I can only look at the Bears. I haven't played it, but that's the only way I could look.
Joe Kim says Notre Dame saying their sellout streak will stop this season. Will Navy win with the Notre Dame fan base not interested and Navy off a bye? Notre Dame opened up at -10. It's down to 7s in most of these books. What do you think of what Joe Kim's asking?
So I'm not convinced that a sellout streak, it's not like the stadium's going to be empty. It's not like the Notre Dame fans aren't showing up. It's not like the students aren't showing up. It's not like the atmosphere is not going to be rowdy. It's not any of that stuff. They just didn't sell every single ticket, which isn't necessarily good news for Brian Kelly's long-term job security, but it is what it is. I don't look at the sellout streak ending as having any effect. That to me is superfluous information. It's not going to help you handicap. The market's all over Navy. Obviously, they bet Navy way down, and it's something of an awkward matchup for the Fighting Irish, a Fighting Irish team that prior to last week's game against Duke had been in a little bit of a funk. Certainly, if Navy does what they want to do in this game, they're going to shorten the game. They're going to keep Notre Dame's defense on the field and keep Ian Book on the sideline. And that's, how the Middies have hung tough against the Irish when they've hung tough in years past. It's not anything that I played. It's not anything I'm going to play. I could certainly understand the early week Navy money at 7. I'm not convinced that the Middies are that close to the Irish. But, know this, the money that's come on Navy is sharp money. So if you're stepping in front of the Middies, you are stepping in front of some of the better bettors that are out there.
Next question is from our guy, Datfire TV. Says, can you ask Teddy about Clemson first half against Wake Forest? If you want Clemson first half, 20.5 is the best you can get. That's heavily juiced at Pinnacle. 21.5s are what most of the shops are selling. What do you think about backing Clemson first half against Wake Forest?
I don't have a strong take on this game at all. I'm not in a rush to step in front of Clemson, but it seems like a lot of points to give Wake off of, they played a bad game against Virginia Tech. Teams get a bad game. Wake's been pretty good, and it's a funky game, and I'm really interested in watching this one because I don't know if Wake's offense is going to work against this defense, but if they can get something going, that makes the first half on Clemson a little bit difficult. So I know the Tigers have been rolling in recent first halves. They come out of the gate, taking no prisoners, and BC and Louis. I mean, really, since their bye, 5 straight wins and 4-1 ATS, and they've come out early and smack teams. And if you're riding that, I'd ride it again. I haven't been riding that, and I can see a scenario in which Wake hangs around here at least for a little while. So it's not one that I'm going to bet.
Next question comes to us from Joe Kim. Joe Kim talking about this spot here, rotation number 403, 404, Stanford, Washington State. Washington State opening up at -10, now 10.5 at Pinnacle, 11s everywhere else. This total going from 62 up to 63, 63.5 for 64. Joe Kim says, Teddy, Washington State versus Stanford, no Costello, lay points with Wazoo -11?
You could. Washington State isn't good, okay? This team's in last place in the Pac-12 North. They have the nation's leading passer and they're in last place. All right, they've lost 2 straight. They've lost 5 out of 6, and it's a get right spot. And maybe they get right here against Stanford. Stanford's pretty rough, but it's hard for me to lay double digits with Washington State right now. But if I had to play the game, that's the way I would play it, because I know I don't want to. When you're losing to Colorado and scoring 13 points against Colorado, and you got to go the next week and on the road, I mean, Stanford's season has been a disaster. That's not sugarcoated. It's been bad. They're not, and they didn't sell. They didn't sell out on opening day against Northwestern. They were struggling to sell tickets. They were struggling to sell season tickets, and that was a situation that I was tipped off to on August. And it's like, okay, I felt that was very meaningful, where the Stanford support that had been there isn't there, and the team's played out that way. That's a bad football team. I don't want them. So I guess it's Wazoo or pass, but I'm not excited about laying doubles with Wazoo these days. Pass.
And next up, Farshad Assami wants to talk about the marquee games on the slate. One of them being Michigan State, Michigan opening up at minus 14.5. Now 13.5s are on the board, some 14s. This total opened up at 44.5. It's still there. Some books are up to 45. Big spot here, Michigan State versus 14th ranked Michigan. You have an edge?
Well, I mean, when Lewerke played the Wolverines defense last year, it was 5 of 25. The Spartans didn't have 100 yards of offense for the entire game. And Michigan State's offense this year is every bit as bad as last year. They just lost their leading receiver. He's out for the year. It's hard for me to picture Sparty putting up points in bunches in this one. It really is. The last time Michigan beat Michigan State by more than 2 touchdowns was 2002. You know what I mean? So you're getting into a point spread range for the Wolverines in a rivalry game that, Michigan hasn't been there, and the program hasn't been there for more than 15 years. So you're taking a leap of faith if you want to lay with the Wolverines here, in a meaningful rivalry. And for all the disappointments that Michigan State had last week, and for all the disasters, they lost the game by what? 1 score. So they lose this game by 1 score. They'll cash underdog tickets. Not a game I'm going to bet. Slight lean to the under in this one. I don't see either of these two offenses marching up and down the field.
Next spot, Georgia, Auburn. Farshad asking about Georgia opening up at minus 2.5. Now 3s across the board. This total's dropped from 44 down to 41. Georgia, Auburn, Teddy.
So this is one I flipped on, and when I flip, I don't bet. My initial reaction was, hey, Georgia's cheap. And the more I looked at it, and the more I thought about it, and the more when you examine Georgia's season closely, you see a lot of underachieving. You see a defense that's really good, but you also see an offense that's supposed to be really good that hasn't been. And you blame the line, you blame the play calling, you blame the quarterback, call it what it is. Georgia's offense has underachieved. Now they're going on the road. They're facing an elite defense that's loaded in the trenches. You're going to have to make plays. I haven't seen Georgia do that much. And when when we talk about the Frosh QB and against the Bulldogs defense, yeah, it's a problem. Nix hasn't played great against the better defenses that he's faced. This time he's coming in with extra time to repair. And when you're talking about Frosh QBs in November, they're sophomore QBs now. They are. The experience level has been there. I wouldn't be surprised if Tigers hang around him and give Georgia all kinds of trouble in this game. Hard game for me. Again, and my first lean was towards the road favorite. The more I thought about it, I like the home dog. And when I flip, I unless the case is super strong, and I'm like, oh my God, I was an idiot, and this the info here and there's info there. This is just my opinions. As the more I thought about the game, the less I like the road favorite. Georgia's been something of a disappointment. Auburn, not so much. Lean Tigers.
And Teddy, before we put a bow on this show, we'll finish it up with Alexander Lopez saying, does Teddy have any futures for the NCAA football championship?
I don't. And honestly, I guess for college football, you can make a case at the beginning of the season to get some long shots. But, I didn't bet LSU early. I didn't bet Ohio State early. And those were the only two that were probably worth betting. But the odds to win it all, I very rarely get involved with that. There are too many variables, and you don't get true value for your money. The best score I ever had in the playoffs was when Ohio State, with Cardell Jones, went bang bang and won back-to-backs. And instead of playing Ohio State to win it all, I just played them on the money line, and then I rolled it over and I played them on the money line again, and I won more than I would have the other way around. So I would, if you like a long shot, I would encourage you to do it that way, as opposed to trying to ask them to win it all, where you're letting the books take a nice chunk of what you're supposed to be earning.
I love it. Teddy covers another week in the books here. Teddy cover on San Diego State -1.5, Indiana +14.5, Minnesota +3. That was a bet that he went back and hammered again. So he hammered that one twice. Central Michigan +3, Cal +6.5, Texas +7, UCLA +21.5, and Cincy -13.5 in the association. He's on the Detroit Pistons. It is a great treat to have you on the show all through the week, Teddy, hearing how you break down games and just how you cap, having all these questions come in from the chat. Just love every second of it. Thank you so much for joining us, sharing your hard work and insights with us. Follow Teddy. Everybody out there who doesn't follow Teddy, please follow him now. Teddy_covers on Twitter. He's a great follow, very active. Teddy, my friend, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and let's come back here Monday feeling good about ourselves.
I would like that very much, Jimmy. And I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of shows over the years. I have. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never done a show quite like this one, where the audience participation and the chat participation is the key element of the show. Love it, low baggers. Keep it up, guys. Good luck this weekend.
Oh, there he is. Teddy Covers. Catch him here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings. And I enjoy that segment immensely as well. I love hearing him off the cuff, answering all the questions. I find it very exciting, whether it be actual angles on a game or whether it be gambling philosophies. I find it all very, very, very enjoyable. Hearing his looks from Monday and breaking them down throughout the week and seeing what he's going to the window on. I love every second of it. There we go. There is our show for today. So I am still not ready to pull the trigger on the Grizzlies. I just feel like Utah can turn it on whenever they want. I still may pull the trigger on the Grizzlies. I'm going to go add to my NFL card. I'm only on the Cardinals +11.5 right now. I'm going to add to that. But I like, and in NHL, in NBA, I'm only on one look right now, and that's the Orlando Magic at -3, and I'm hoping my book hasn't switched that to a 3.5. Let me just check that really quickly and see if I lost that. Here we go. No, I haven't yet. Okay, good. That's still a 3 at -110. NHL, I'm seeing things clearly, and we're making money. And I'm going to keep that going. Devils -1 at +223. I do not believe that Malkin can put the Penguins on his back. I'm fading Evgeny Malkin with this bet. Then I'm on the Capitals -1. I don't know what that works out to. It's a -151 money line, +165 a puck line. And that was an addition from the show that I hadn't planned on betting. Then I'm on the Flyers -1 at +112 and the under 6.5 -110. I really like that spot. All right, we are rolling hot right now. On the Late Show, we will have Al Mack and Maxwell Smart. And Maxwell Smart is running hot as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my guests, Donnie Rightside and Teddy Covers. On behalf of myself and my producer on the ones and twos, Rafa, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's have a big afternoon of work. Join us for the Audible 4 o'clock with Donnie Rightside and the Whale Capper. But most importantly, let's get it. Leche, hey, los bookmakers.